to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You just remain standing for a moment. Pastor Bossio will give our invocation.
As we pray, I'm going to ask if we would remember citizens and those in our community who are ill. I'm heading to the hospital to visit someone right now, and I know there are some who are suffering right now in pain, elderly, and even some in our council who may not be 100% well. Let's remember to pray for them as we open up. Lord, we thank you. We honor you today, and that's why we're here, because you've given us freedom. And I thank you, Lord, for those who are leading us, police and fire who are serving us, and, Lord, citizens who are deserving of honor and respect for their faithfulness as good stewards of the city of Allen Park. Now we remember to pray for those who are sick, those who are hurting, those who are in need of healing, and those who need friendship and love. So we ask that you would comfort them, strengthen them, protect them, we pray. We thank you for this meeting. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. The clerk take the roll, please.
Councilman Templin.
Present.
Councilman Cisco.
Present.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavarecki.
Present.
Councilman Rourke.
Here.
Madam Pro Tem McLeod.
Here.
Treasurer Armstrong.
Here.
And Mayor Mategas.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to place the agenda for August 23rd before us?
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Templin, supported by Councilwoman Gavrecki. Is there any questions, discussion, changes, deletions?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to separate claims and accounts.
Without exception, we will remove claims and accounts from the 4 consent agenda items, and there'll be only 3 there, and we'll take that as the first item when we get there. Are there any other corrections, changes to be made? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. We'll go to the organizational business and the city administrator.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, Bruce Hammond was on vacation, and so Hal Sebeck, our city engineer, had a previous commitment that he was not aware that Bruce wouldn't be able to be here, so we gave them the evening off. I do have some information in my update for what they normally report on. But first, I'm going to yield a few minutes, if everybody would be so inclined, to Mr. Pat Hawkins to give a real brief update on the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you. I was asked to do this morning, and if I could come up with a minute or two to give you some highlights. That's a little more difficult than when I start talking about highlights to just do a minute or two, but I'm going to try that. For what's happened during this calendar year, it's pretty difficult to establish what might be a bigger highlight from the Bacabella Community Build Project, or the creation and the results of the Allen Park Civic Community Fund, or the cardio drumming class we had this summer, or even the policy changes that the Recreation Commission has made regarding priorities for usage of facilities that has benefited many of the clubs, organizations, and the people in Allen Park. But to get started, baseball is completed for the summer, and I thought it was a pretty successful year, and we continue to work well with all of the organizations. We have improved relations with all of them, and baseball was pretty successful. Soccer continues. It's basically year-round now. They play out at the Millward Rotary Park in the soccer area throughout the summer, fall, and late spring. They come in and use the community center for indoor soccer and the gymnasium in the winter. In the parks, almost all of the playground equipment has been painted. repaired, fixed. Almost everything is operable, and as things happen, because much of the equipment is sometimes 40 and 50 years old, but as that happens, we either repair it or remove it as we need to, and we continue to do that on a weekly basis throughout the summer. As I said, the cardio drumming was probably, as far as the program was concerned, the biggest one downriver, so large that they asked us to go 2 days, and now they're asking us to have space in the community center to do it throughout the winter. So that's been a pretty good program. The Bulldogs have started their season as far as practice is concerned, and the Hockey Association is back in the arena, and if you haven't been over there lately, you should just walk into the arena and take a look around. I know Councilwoman Gabarecki was there last night. It looks like it should look. And the community center looks as good, it's as clean, it's as safe, it's really the place to be, and it's something everybody in Allen Park should be proud of. And regarding security, the security cameras have been installed. Every entry and exit door now have a camera on them. Prior to this, we had some cameras, but there was not an entry or exit door that you didn't know who was coming or going. The basketball program finished at the beginning of the current season, at the beginning of the current calendar year, and almost tripled the number of kids that we had this past year. We're in the planning stages for this upcoming year, and much of that support and help was because of the APAC and the Bulldog involvement. And tomorrow we have a meeting, myself and the high school coach, with someone from the Detroit Pistons who wants to expand their program into a league that takes what we have and expand it in the downriver area. They have nothing downriver right now. So we're meeting, we don't want to get off the improvement of our basketball program, but we're going to meet and see what they have to say tomorrow afternoon. Of course, the Street Fair Committee again came through and has helped us substantially financially with some issues regarding ball fields, an info monitor at the arena so that we get up to date, that works with our registration program that they had paid for 2 years ago, that we won't be writing on grease boards anymore. Soon enough, there'll be a monitor that'll tell you what room you're in, what locker room you're in, what's going on today, what else is happening in the city, and it'll work with our registration program that we have working right now. Of course, the APCCF fundraiser was held at the arena. I don't know how many of you really expected it to be as successful as it was, but I was amazed. And the fact that they said, you know, the purpose of that first fundraiser was to help out the parks, and we're working on some of that as we move forward. That was a very pleasant surprise, and I'm very grateful for that. Let's see. Our senior day trips are planned out ahead of time now, and they've almost all been a sellout. We went to Eastern Market twice as a second trip, one in the spring as a second trip during the flower season, and we just went last week during the vegetable season. That didn't stop our other trips. We also went to Meadowbrook today, but we have a trip planned every month, and they're pretty much a sellout now. The Wayne County grant that you were notified of probably last fall, but as I'm sure you all know how government works, we finally got our copy back last week signed, so we're now beginning to implement the expenditures of that $80,000 which had been submitted to the county. But we really couldn't do anything until we had that signed contract back, but we just got that back. Our Senior Olympics completed about 3 weeks ago, and we had 28 participants and 29 medals were brought back to Allen Park. Let's see, we talked about Bacabella, we talked about all the other things. Also inducted this year, we had nobody inducted in the Hall of Fame last year, and this year Mike Kilberg and Andrew Green were inducted, and I thought it was a pretty nice ceremony that took place over at the Street Fair, and I thought they were very deserving individuals. And beyond that, this coming weekend is the Rotary Family Fun Day at Millward Rotary Park. So please come out there on Saturday, and I guess that's my 2 minutes. Any questions?
I think Pat may have forgotten one big one there that I think he was very instrumental in the also the coach from the Allen Park High School hockey, and that was, remember that the Allen Park Hockey Association is returning this year. They start up here in the next couple weeks.
They're here. They're
now.
skating.
And I think that's a huge change from previous year that we were able to recoup them, and I think that's a testament to the hard work that Pat did to get that, make that happen.
I just want to say thank you.
I have one question. Is there going to be food and refreshments Saturday, or just bring your own?
No, there will be food. You know what? I'll defer to a member of the Rotary.
We do. We're going to have hot dogs, ice cream, popcorn. I don't know what other things we have, but we do have food for everybody.
And what time?
It'll be from 12 to 4. And last year was the first time we had about 200 people. We've, I think, done a little better job of getting news out about it. For the kids, we're going to have some of those big blow-up things where they can try and hit baseballs, and I think one's a water slide, and I think there's a third one, and I just don't know what it is. You won't see me on any of them because I would never walk away if I did them.
The event is sponsored by the Rotary Club, and they're putting all the plans together.
So
Thank you.
we invite everyone to come out and join us, and I think we'll have a good time.
People need to know that when there's food and refreshments, you know, you gotta tell them
We've
that.
got posters all over our building, I'll tell you that.
Because they will, you know,
It says free
including me,
food.
like
It says
it.
free food right on the
Like
poster.
it, yeah. I will
Okay,
be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. For the rest of my report, the street improvement millage work continues on Shenandoah Avenue from Ecorse to Pinecrest. We were out there today, and they have, the contractor was pouring from Ecorse Road to just south of Philomene Boulevard. They're also working on storm drain and concrete removal. But that was the first section. I think there's probably going to be 6 sections that they'll have to pour in this run there. They're also finishing up the ADA work on the ADA sidewalk ramps over on Niver Avenue and get that complete. And I think they've just got a few minor things left on Garfield. One probably main one is grass growth. So they're still working on that. It's been a rather hot summer to try to grow grass. Weeds will grow prevalent, but the grass doesn't seem to want to grow. At the fire station, the work continues on the HVAC replacement project, and that contractor's still a few more weeks from being finished. And then right after that, they'll be in with the contractor for the exhaust removal system, and that'll start once that project is done because they're working in the same area. So the chief wanted to make sure that they were done with all the HVAC, put everything where they need to go, and then they can come back in with the exhaust removal equipment and be able to get that project done. And again, reminder to everyone, that was a grant that the chief did get. It's a 90-10. Our cost is $6,500 out of $65,000 thereabouts. So 1/10, you can't beat that. The chief did a great job getting that grant for us again. They're also going to be hosting a firehouse. The fire department open house is scheduled for October 9th from noon to 3. I know a lot of youngsters are looking forward to that one. The kids seem to always love seeing the fire trucks, and that's an opportunity for them to go out and see, touch, and feel those fire trucks. This one I hate to announce, but it's just for information, and I hate to jinx it, so I apologize in advance to Terry and to Tom and the water department. From August 1st through August 15th, there was 18 water main breaks. I don't think it stopped since the 15th. Probably we're at 26 now.
Oh, my God.
So you can see another 8 in the last 7-8 days. And it's almost one a day at this point in time. I think they're at now 114, somewhere about there for the year, which unfortunately seemed to be on pace for the normal for a hot summer calendar time period. What happens is Detroit will crank up the pressure to feed the outlying areas that they have as customers. Unfortunately, when we have 80, 90-year-old water mains, they cannot sustain that type of pressure. When everybody stops using it here in Allen Park, that pressure still spikes up high, and it'll pop those water mains in a quick second. We're working with the engineer. I know Terry's trying to get some budget, put some money aside, and Bob's working with them for pressure relief valves. Unfortunately, we need 8 of them, or 9 of them, at about $200,000 a piece, so you're looking at $1.8 million for the pressure relief valve. So we need to keep working on that for the water department. That'll help reduce some of those costs. We were trying to figure out average cost of a water main break somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000 when you figure in water loss, time, equipment, restoration, concrete work, so it all adds up at that point in time. And the good news, though, they did open the bids for the Warwick and Arlington water main project. And a bid award recommendation will be coming forth at September 13th council meeting. The price came in a little bit higher than we anticipated, but a second bid is being opened on the 25th, which is for the SCADA monitoring system, and we anticipate that project to actually be under bid or under budget. Between the two of them, we should have enough to be able to do both projects at that point in time, and they will both need to go before RTAB for approval, especially the water main, because it is over the $250,000 threshold. The DPS is trimming trees along Greek Road and as well as some other main roads in an effort to help clearance for the advanced disposal of garbage trucks and also the delivery trucks. Those trucks are a little bit higher and the trees being a little bit lower. That's not the best type of pruning, so we try to get the guys out there to do the pruning the normal way, and that's what they're working on now. There is a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this Friday for the Holiday Inn and the Hampton Inn project that is being built at Enterprise Drive in Southfield, right over here in the corner. That'll be Friday at 10 o'clock, and that's hopefully get them moving along. I think they are all set with their permits and get them started so they can meet the requirements of the purchase deed that they had with time equities. The DDA director is working with the assessing department and the building department to obtain information that is required to apply for redevelopment liquor license. The DDAs have that ability to apply for those. There's certain criteria that has to be met. I've tried to get Jennifer maybe next meeting or something. We can get a little bit of a brief update on that for the mayor and council. The administration had hoped to apply the remaining funds from the Distressed Communities Grant HVAC project, the fire station, to fund an LED streetlight project. Unfortunately, that grant application was denied by the state of Michigan. We're not too sure what the reasoning was, other than they may have only been looking for us to have one project and no more at that point in time. So we're trying to find out what the reasoning was for the delay. On the good side, though, is that they did inform us that the Distressed Communities Grant is coming around for another round of funding, and that should be out here in the next couple months. So we'll be applying for projects at that point in time. Another item from Recreation Department is that they've started the process with SMART to get a new bus or new van. This will be a replacement van, will be similar to the Ford Transit that we purchased with block grant funding back at the beginning of the year. This one will have a wheelchair lift, though. So we'll be able to help those residents in need of access to that vehicle with the wheelchair lift, and that is funded from SMART itself, the SMART Transportation Program. Through the first 3 weeks of August, we've received about $241,000 in credit card payments for taxes and water bills. From the information that Bob had, looks like that might be a new record for us, as a lot of people are starting to use that benefit to pay taxes and water bills. Bob and the finance department, they're busy getting ready for the city audit at this point in time, and they should be coming in here probably about the middle of September to start that. At the end of this month, they're going to be in, and they'll be in for a few weeks to take care of that audit and get that ready for us. And then we're also looking for part-time ordinance officer positions to be filled. That application is available on the website. If anybody has anybody that's aware of looking for that type of work, send the application in. We do have a deadline for this Thursday, I'm sorry, actually for tomorrow. But we are going to be looking for a couple positions, so don't let the date bother anybody. Just keep sending those in, and so we can get some good qualified people to help us out in the ordinance department. And then finally, the state has informed us that the next RTAB meeting will be Tuesday, September 20th. And again, the one item that they will be considering at this point in time is the water main ward and possibly the SCADA at the same time. So those two items, and then anything else that fits in on the 13th meeting that it exceeds the $250,000 threshold or any other criteria that they have laid out in the Order 57, they'll be able to consider at that point in time. We are working with Madeline Williams from DTE to try to get the disconnect of the power at the old City Hall a little bit quicker. She has put some phone calls in for us, and we're hoping to get that taken care of in the next few days. That is one of the things that is delaying us to getting the building torn down, is we have to have the power disconnected. The power is shut off, but we need to have it disconnected from the building by DTE. So I believe that is everything I have.
Any questions of the city administrator?
Just one, Mayor. When will the tree trimming stop? When the snow falls, or when does it stop?
Yeah, I think he's got a crew that'll be going through the rest of the summer and then into the fall as well.
Could you give a number to the citizens to call that have a problem with their tree trimming, that
We
they want
can,
it done?
if they can give a hold of DPS, we'll get that number posted out there, and then also through C-Collect Fix as well.
Thank you.
Just a refresher. What was the amount for the pressure relief valves?
The estimated cost on those, and it depends on the size of the pipe that you're putting the valve onto. If it's depending on the size of the main, but average price is somewhere around $200,000 a piece.
Any other questions? Councilman Cisco.
Yeah, and I know you probably don't have the answer to this, but maybe you do. And when we talk about receiving money through our credit card payments for taxes and water bills, can you translate that into people? You know, like, are these people that would actually come into City Hall and pay this, and now they're paying basically online?
No, they can pay they can pay over the counter, they can pay online. We also accept the payments at the police station, the recreation department.
So that's all of the above then?
Well, it sounds like they just pulled out a number for taxes and water. I don't know where they got that from.
I think that was what was deposited for the month, or for the first 3 weeks. Yeah. But it can be anything, as the treasurer says. Those are not necessarily just done online or via phone. If you do come to the counter and you want to pay via credit card, that's when they'll help at the counter to get that process.
Do we get a lot of that? People come in and paying with the credit card? We do?
There is a fee associated with that of
Depends on the
value of the cost of their taxes.
Of the bill. But we
Yeah,
also get money back from Oakland County quarterly.
Yeah, I was just trying to correlate that into traffic into City Hall, either less or more, or the same.
We get quite a few payments online every day, closer to the due date, especially for water. I mean, we could get up to 30 payments a day, you know, close to the due date of the water bill and taxes.
And does that affect at all the drop payment box that we have? Is that still always the same?
Yeah, we get quite a few. I'm guessing the younger generation uses the credit cards more than our seniors.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'd echo that, considering how much has to be deposited cash-wise early on. We always, you always joke about the money being under the mattress. Unfortunately, I think that may be the case in a lot of situations, is bringing cash. Or, which, one of the items I seen that was a little shocking, is somebody brought in a large sum of money, and they brought it right from the bank, and didn't bring it in the form of a cashier check. They brought in cash, which is very concerning that somebody would leave the bank with a large sum of money and come here with a large sum of money. When they had the opportunity to pick up a cashier's check for a couple of dollars, it would have been well worth the safety.
Thank you.
Questions? These aren't for you so much, Mark, but maybe Dave can help us since Mr. Hammond isn't here. There are 3 things on here that deal with Fordland drainage issues, and that evidently is being handled by Mr. Reckney. And then the Ford Wind Tunnel project, but also it says Ford is doing directional drilling, and I'm trying to figure out where it is because we're still trying to negotiate the indemnification parts of that agreement for the pipeline, sewer line that goes from Apis all the way down into those retention ponds.
Yeah, let's go. The Fordland drainage issue is actually not associated with this property. It is actually over to Independence Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
And they had a situation where they were flooding out the service drive north of Outer Drive and
Right.
the Southfield Service Drive right near Snow Road. We worked with them and they said they were working on it. We didn't see anything happening at the area that we were concerned with. They actually went to the drain where it goes under a tunnel, cleaned out the area and that with those the vegetation out of that area, and that has allowed the water flow to move a lot better. So we're keeping an eye on that one because it did cause some damage to our roadway area.
Dave, it's the last 2 in the engineering, the last page, and it has to do, it says Fordland drainage issues, and then the wind tunnel project. And the wind tunnel project, I know we've approved its building, but the drainage for that tunnel and the Fordland drainage issues, and I know they had a problem because we had a flood on Enterprise, didn't we, recently over there? that
Yeah,
prompted
they did submit the drawings, and the CE Range Company is reviewing the last submittal for the easement access for those properties. I don't think there's been any change in the last week or so from the last update. To my knowledge, I have not seen anything come across
And
my
they haven't
desk.
sent any indemnification
I haven't seen any.
agreements? Okay. Thank you. Just for everyone's information, the county now, it's been for probably 10 years, I think, says that if you're going to put a drain that is going to intersect a county drain, the municipality or township has to guarantee its maintenance and work. And of course, this drain is for 3 businesses, and we want the drain for them, but we want an indemnification for them because they've got retention ponds on it and a number of other things, that they're going to have that maintenance, that we don't have to bear that cost. And one of the problems they have is they have a lot of phragmite in the retention basins, and how they're going to clean that out is an issue, and that showed up in that report that we got. I just was curious about it.
I mean, is that AP 12 you were looking at?
Yeah, the
And the
earlier
directional-
one. Yeah, that's
so-
the one
yeah.
you said that was over at Snow
Yeah,
Road.
also, the directional drilling with Ford Motor Company is, under AP 12, was actually Ford Land Development over on Republic Drive. They were working with Comcast to put in some new fiber lines to service their buildings within the Republic Drive complex.
Thank you. I would take a motion to accept the administrator's reports. Motion by Councilman Cisco. Do I have a support?
Support that there, Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio, and it will be to accept and file the updates and reports, including those of Mr. Hawkins. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. We are at the portion of the agenda where the public can come forward with comments or questions. I would just ask you to be aware of the rules of decorum that are on the back of our agendas, and I see the lieutenant's hurrying up here.
I get over and relieve the patient.
Sergeant. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to give one last pitch. We're having our CERT fundraiser at the Corner Bar in Allen Park this Saturday, August 27th. We have a Michael Jackson, a Prince, and a Rod Stewart impersonator. Comes with a buffet. Given a contest for best dressed for the 80s, if you guys can remember them. And also just wanted to announce the chief has allowed me to put on an assistant CERT coordinator. So when I was looking for an officer to give me a hand with the Allen Park side of it, I'm pleased to say Paul Schreier stepped up. What I like about him is he's a 20-year veteran. He lives in Allen Park, and next to the ordinance officers, he writes more ordinance tickets than any officer, probably every officer combined. He works the side streets, and I'm glad to have a little bit of help. It's hard doing the day shift functions when you work at night, so it'll definitely help having a little assistant there. Again, you can get tickets at our city clerk's office for me or Melvindale for the fundraiser. And I'll put the poster up for the camera. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Simmons, and I live on Keppen and Allen Park. I just had a couple of questions and a comment about the tree trimming thing that you were talking about from Advanced Disposal to help with that. I was wondering, is that for trees that are on the easement, or is it if we have a tree in our yard that's hanging over?
I think that mostly they're going to be focused on the easement trees. If there's anything else, they have a hard time being able to touch.
I wouldn't have a problem.
Okay. We can let Matt know that.
What?
I'll let Matt know that.
Oh, I know Matt. I could let him know, too.
All right. He does a great job.
Yes, he does. Also, I got the announcement today about the town hall meeting for next Tuesday, and I'm hoping that, well, I guess I'm being realistic that we're probably going to need another one, so I hope that we're thinking along those lines, because I think it would be very helpful. And just to mention that, you know, I don't know how many of you are on Facebook and are maybe lurking or not on the Allen Parker page and the other Allen Park pages where there's been, I feel, healthy discussions about just some of the things that we need to think about as we're moving toward complex for the City Hall and Police Department. And I would encourage you guys, if you are on Facebook, and if you do lurk, that's fine, but it's nice for us as citizens to hear from council members. I think it's been a healthy discussion. There's not been any that I think I've read just about all of them, and I don't think there's really been any, I don't think it's gotten dramatic or out of hand. Maybe it's gotten a little off topic. I've been guilty of that, but just, I just think it's great to be able to read, and you're going to see what the citizens, how they're feeling. And a lot of the comments that have been made are things that I never even considered that I think are very important. And so hopefully, you know, if you haven't had an opportunity, you'll make a point. All you have to do is there's a little tiny search box up in the, just under the cover photo of whatever page you're on, and if you just do City Complex, just type that in and hit search. It'll bring all of those things that we're discussing up, and you can read them right there. You don't have to sit there and go down through, you know, what you feel like are trillions of the comments and posts. It'll bring everyone that's only that, and they'll be in order from the first one to the most current one. And so, but you got to go in and read the comments because they're really, really good. And the last thing I had a question about is not something that you talked about tonight, but I was wondering if, Mr. Kibbe, if you had any update or information about there was like a grease dump or something in one of the, up on the Independent Marketplace where you had to replace a pump because it was destroyed or something, and I wondered if there was any update as to who was the person that...
They're
And
still
did you
doing an
recover?
Yeah, they're still doing an investigation. We think we may have found the culprit. It was, I don't want to name the business yet. I don't think it's, can we name the business, Terry? Let's hold off on that. But the culprit was a local eatery that was dumping their dirty water, from the floor, tables, whatever, down a drain, and the towels that are heavy duty, they're like a dishcloth towel, but they are somewhat disposable. Those were actually going down the drain as well. I'm not too sure why they didn't take them out of the bucket beforehand, but they were going in there, and that was what was getting caught up in the line and causing the grease to build up, but that was tearing the motors apart.
Well,
So-
are they still doing it?
No, they've been warned to stop that, and we're still doing an investigation to find out if there was any other smoking guns up there besides this one, and then they'll be sent the bill for the meter, or
Very
for the
good.
pump.
You answered my next question, so thank you.
Bob Turner. I have a question talking about Florida land. Has there been any comments about Phase 3 on the hill? Is there anything going on up there on that? Anybody heard anything?
There's one property that's, that they're looking to go next to Meyer. That's the only thing I heard, and I don't know if that's considered Part 3 or Part 2.
I think it's Part 2. I mean,
Well,
Part
it seemed to
3
me
is
it
all-
should be, but that's the only one that I know that's a potential new building that should be coming forward next year probably.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis Hayes, Manor Avenue. I wonder, the meeting time is 6 p.m. This, I think, was decided by Mrs. Parker when she was here. We always had it at 7 before that, right? And I think, in fact, the mayor at the time, Mr. Matakis, was kind of put off by that 6 o'clock. I think he'd rather have a chance to go home, have a bite or something, like many of us would probably prefer to do. I'm wondering if there's any reason why we continue at that 6 o'clock, particularly in light of the fact that we will be having a town hall also at 6 o'clock. And I've heard countless people tell me, why do they have these meetings so early? I'd like to go, but I'm still at work and I got to get home and feed the dog or whatever they have to do, you know, wash the dishes from the day before or who knows what. So I just wonder if you can think about, I think you have the authority to set your own meeting time. I hope so. I hope that there's no order that prevents you from doing that. God knows we don't need that kind of micromanagement. But so I wish you'd consider that. And I also hope that, as alluded by Mrs. Simmons, I hope that there will be at least a couple town hall meetings, because I think the initial one, I think it'll just be glossing over, because I understand the architect's not going to be in town, and some of the kinds of questions that people may want to ask will probably not be. And people are slow to the switch anyway. The thing's going to come and go and say, I didn't know there was a town hall. There was a town hall, you know. People don't look at the website. They don't look at Facebook probably. They don't see all the activity that's going on, the conversations that are going on. And that's more the pity for the city. We need to have as many people as possible engaged in this process, irrespective of your point of view, whether you want a new building, an old building, retrofitted building. That's really not even the point here. It's that everybody have a chance to have some input into this big, big deal. This is a big deal. This is a 50-year issue, really, I think, you know, if we build something new. So I think it's very important, and hopefully maybe we could ask those community groups, the recreation committees and the fundraising committee, the one that had the fundraiser recently, maybe they have mailing lists or email lists that they could send notice out, because I'd like to see as many people out there as possible. And finally, let me just say for my good neighbor, Ray over here, Ray Walagara, who built that new structure, or redid the structure on, what is that, Wick, I guess, Wick near Reek, kind of Wick and Allen between the old hardware. He's done a brilliant job, in my opinion. He's really improved the look of the building. He's committed a great deal of money and energy to this. I don't know what he's doing inside. I heard there was a card game last Friday, but I wasn't invited, so I didn't go. But no, I think he's going to have a great project over there, and I think he's improved the neighborhood. And thankfully, we approved his being able to do that on the last council. Thank you very much.
Through the chair, if I may, I did see, as council's aware, Mr. Hayes has been sending communications over. He raised a point this morning, so I sent an email out, and both the engineer and the architect both replied back that they will be in attendance on Tuesday evening.
I come right here to make a complaint or talking about something. I live on an street from 1983.
Your name?
Aguirre, Serafin Aguirre is my name. And I got some people on my side that they're renting. These people are wild people, young girls. They smoke marijuana anytime they want. It smells all over the neighborhood. We got kids. Look like they want to drive in, or they want to bar all neighborhoods because they no listen. They want to bar all neighborhoods, parking all over, bring people and never see the car, leaving for 2-3 days, then coming again. Now, before they make parties, starting 11 o'clock. Police went over there looking. They say stop. They stop. But later on, starting again to all night in the morning, drinking and smoking marijuana, this and that, leaving the glasses or cups full of beer or whiskey, whatever, on the yards of the neighbors. I don't know what happened to these people, you know. It's hard to living with these people. I mean, nobody can do nothing about it because look like they want to change the rules.
Where is this?
Pardon me?
What street? What street is it on?
What's the address?
What's the address?
Oh, just the street.
14876
What street?
N Street.
Ann?
14876. Look like it to me because 3 neighbors, they move out already. They got a lot of power, these people. And sometimes I get letters, so I think everybody get letters. We buy your house, keep your paper, your paper ready for buy your house. We pay you cash. Look like these people is now some people, bunch of people. They want to kick in the neighbors, buy the house, and bring in I don't know what kind of people.
Have you called the police?
Police can do nothing about it. They're not afraid of police.
Have they been there?
Mr. Aguirre knows that they've been there. We've issued several tickets.
They're not afraid of
The
police.
people, it appears that it's a rental house, and it appears that people show up every week or so. Doesn't it seem? And then they seem to stay until the police try and track them down, and then they seem to make a run for it. And I don't know if we've contacted
They
the
no got
owner yet.
respect for the police. They no got respect for nobody.
Can't we put a condemned sign on the house? I mean, can't we put a red tag on it? We can do something.
Because they went
If it's
out,
that bad where the police are going there and nothing's being done,
they went out. At night, you see everybody on the street, on the driveway too. Sometimes on day you don't see nobody. When something going on or something running, you know. Now, nobody home. By night, a bunch coming. Look like use the house like a camping. Another thing, they want to use the house like a motel, renting everybody for night, a lot of people. Or somebody make a trip, stop, pass the night, and left in the morning. I mean, it's not a neighborhood like, I mean, I don't like that kind of a living, you know, because we are the neighborhood. We respect all the neighbors, live together, but no now. It's difficult that way. I mean, it's too old for living that way, you know. We buy the house, take a long year for pay. Now we owe too old retirement. And these people coming and no respect for the neighbors. They want to drive in all neighborhoods. Sometimes when they got party, whole block, both sizes, drinking,
Mr.
eating.
The time limit for citizens' comments, 4 minutes, and we're past, and you know, you and I have had discussions, and we've sent the police, and I've given you a number to call whenever you have a problem in the evening, so we can send a car.
I used one time, because.
And they do come, so, let's see if we can go farther and contact the owner and, of the house.
You know,
And straighten out the problem, okay?
Last week, all right, last week, just a minute. Last week, a guy bring marijuana.
Yeah, I understand.
Coming over. And I called the police. 2 police went over there to look at it. I don't know what happened. I went out.
All right, but your 4 minutes is expired.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sorry. I know one about people, but sometimes
You're not a bother.
we
need to protect the neighborhoods. You're right.
Thank you very much anyway. I appreciate it.
See no one else coming forward, so we will go to the next part of our agenda. We have claims and accounts. To put that before the council, could I have a motion, please? Motion. Motion by Councilman Cisco.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Rourke. And Mr. DiGiulio, you asked that it be separated from the other items. Do you want to ask your questions first, sir?
Yes, I see here we have a refund to Ford Motor Company. It says personal property judgment payment number 4. How many of these payments is there going to be?
Yeah, there's, if I may through the chair, there's 6 payments. This was payment number 4 of 6.
And they're all for $74,732?
Yeah, that was for a tribunal settlement that was settled during emergency manager Parker's time.
And it's for personal property, so in other words, they paid that tax, they paid that much over on their personal property? But I don't understand how that happened. How'd that happen?
They appealed through the Michigan Tax Tribunal, so that's where they appealed their claim that they were being overcharged.
Okay.
If I can just give a little more information, because I've been involved in the fight with Ford Motor on this since I came into office in 2011. This is their pollution building where they test for pollution equipment. And they got a favorable ruling from the state to avoid being taxed. The Supreme Court then came down because Chrysler tried to do the same thing with their facility, and the Supreme Court of the state of Michigan said, no, the whole building and the parking lot, this is not personal property, this is everything over there, was exempt for Ford, and Chrysler lost it to Supreme Court. At that point, the county directed us to contest, and so we did at the tribunal, and we were successful. They then went to the circuit court, and it was reversed. We went back in to the tribunal, they went back to the circuit court, and the circuit court was then that it imposed the judgment levy. And then we appealed to the Court of Appeals. We're successful in the Court of Appeals, but we lost in the Supreme Court of the state of Michigan on the issue that Chrysler lost, which was the same thing. But in the meantime, of course, the county directed us to place the property on the tax rolls. So it was on the tax rolls, the taxes were collected, dispersed to all the entities. The judgment levy that you see there is the one for Allen Park. And it goes back, I think it's the 2010 tax year.
Well, it's approximately $600,000 we're paying back.
Well, 6 times 74, so I think it's more like 446,000 or something like that. But that's how it came about.
Okay.
And there've been some changes in there. Finally, we got permission to go in and look at the property. Board denied us to look at it. And I think there is some now modest taxes that they are paying on the parcel, but I can't tell you, because it would just have occurred this year, or it's been placed on the roll to be taxed next year. But it's been a long, ongoing battle, and unusual in that there have been 5 rulings. Unfortunately, the last ruling favored Ford. But we had rulings that were favorable to us in the interim also. So.
Okay. You're finished?
I am.
Oh, good, good. Thank you. One more question. I see here we have some continuing litigation in our police department. I'm not going to mention any names. I know it's gotten up quite a sum of money from every month here the last few months. Can anybody elaborate on anything about that? Maybe I know it's through you, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, just through the chair. No, this is pending litigation, and we continue to represent the city in defending this action.
Okay, and how about you, Mayor? Can you elaborate on it, because you're not
I have no information that any council person hasn't received. I haven't received
no
anything
information
different.
on that either? Very good. Okay, I'm done.
Any other questions by council on the claims and accounts? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you. The consent agenda consists of 3 items. It's the payroll report for July, the door-to-door solicitor permit by Modern Marketing for natural gas price protection. A $300 fee has been paid. And then a canvasser and solicitor's permit by the Allen Park Boy Scout Troop 1061 for a bottle can drive of September 3rd. Announcement flyer distribution with a September 10th pickup. They've paid a $2 fee. If I could have a motion for those 3 items.
Motion.
Mayor Pro Tem
Support,
McLeod.
Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio is supported. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is carried. We're at resolutions, and the first resolution has to do with Ford 250 pickup trucks and Ford 450. Does somebody want to put that resolution before the council, and then we'll have
Motion for a little bit of discussion on that.
support? Councilman DiGiulio is moved, supported by Councilman Cisco. Mr. Kibbe, do you want to take this, or should we go to Mr. Kerr?
I can, and maybe Terry can add in a little bit here as well. They're looking to purchase the 2 F-250 pickup trucks and one for the one F-450 dump truck. I believe one is going to be going to the basin, and the dump truck will be into the DPS fleet, and the pickup truck, I believe, is in the pickup DPS fleet as well. This will be used in the My Deal program, which we've used a number of times so far this year. So we would need to waive the normal bid process and accept the My Deal as the purchasing process, since there is no economic advantage to the city other than outside of using the state bid process.
Are there any questions by council?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio.
We have trade-ins on these? These are 2 vehicles? I mean, we're replacing vehicles, or are these just added?
3 on the
There are 3 trade-ins.
Hello.
Yes, we have vehicles that are getting traded in.
Okay, so this price, is that after the trade-in, or is that before?
That's before.
So we don't know what we're gonna get off of that for the trade-ins, right?
No, they came and did the inspection on the vehicles for the trade-in price after I already had all the paperwork done.
Okay. Thank you. That's answered for me.
If I may, through the chair, this is a sheet that Terry had given me, and I'll make a copy of this for the council, or scan it and I'll email it out to everyone. This was the sheet of the vehicles within the DPS and Water Department. Hold it up this way, okay, take a look at it. The yellow is any vehicle that's 10 years or older. As you can see, I think a majority of the fleet is in the 10-year or older sector. So Terry's been doing a really good job of trying to help get that fleet up. Pat's done a great job in his department. I know the police department does a recycle process as well. But one of the things I noticed when I came on board here was the age of the equipment. And I got to commend the mayor and council for allowing the departments to properly purchase these vehicles and upgrade those fleets to service the residents of Allen Park. But we still have a bit of a problem, and I think the next purchase you'll see coming out of DPS and Water Department in the future is going to be for larger dump trucks, the F700s and 800s, I believe those are. But there's still a need for that, but this is a definite move in the right direction to get that fleet up to snuff again.
When we use My Deal, but we're doing trade-ins, how I don't understand how that works, because we're selling something, I don't know what we expect in prices, but whether we bid it or not bid it, other than
But we're
just-
going through the dealership too, because that's where the trade-in's gonna be, correct?
Well, that is, right.
The prices are here. And what's on here is the price that you got through My Deal, right? Minus the trade-in when you get the trade-in, less the trade-in, right?
Correct.
So these were the bid prices here on the paper. So that's what you got it for.
Yeah, so your maximum out of pocket would be the 112.
Yeah, no, I just was a question,
Yeah, to
because
save
we're,
on that.
because I'm selling something, and I don't know what, when I'm selling something, do I have, is there any requirement that I have to send that for bids? Or is, when it's a trade-in?
I'm gonna look to Mike maybe on that one. For a trade-in.
Well, just, I mean, through the chair, if the question is, remember that the ordinance talks about if there's no, if this council deems that it is appropriate to avoid the formal bid process, you just vote to waive it. That's all that's required.
Well, the motion for that is there, but we talked about purchasing 3 vehicles, and then it says less the trade-ins. So is that part of the motion? It seems strange, because it's not typically My Deal. That's the only question I have about it, because the other side of it is, I worry is that our vehicles that we're gonna trade in get a lot of repairs and maintenance just before the trade-in, because if you look at the claims and accounts, we had an awful lot of vehicle work.
Yeah, I'm not certain which vehicles those were on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't tell you on the bills either. I mean, in the claims and accounts, but it's just a question for, future. I'm assuming that these are old vehicles, but when you look at particularly the 450s, which is a pretty hefty price vehicle, if it's replacing a 450, how much is it? Maybe in the future, we can at least know what the trade-in prices are that are
Yeah,
kind of
we can always,
anticipated.
the council can always pull that out and send those through the auction process that the PD uses for the confiscated vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth the effort or not, but I have a question when we say we're doing it under My Deal, that portion of doesn't seem to fit My Deal very well. That was all.
See your point.
So.
So the question is, would we get more money on the trade-in or more money via auction? Because that's what this difference is gonna be.
That's right.
Okay.
And
20-year-old vehicles.
well, I don't know what the
2 of them are 20 years old and the other one's 15.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
so-
they're basically scrap vehicles unless
Yeah.
they were
metal.
repaired,
Get good
you
metal.
know, like they were saying,
Yeah.
but.
I mean, I don't have a problem going with it, and I'm going to support the motion as it stands with the less the trade-ins, but I think we just need to know, some sort of pricing or estimated pricing, because you can't get them. I mean, I get rock and dirt every month, and it has 20-year-old vehicles that they quote.
Through the chair, I can, I mean, I don't know if this solves a problem, but I could always add into the resolution not to exceed $112,122. But I wouldn't go lower than that. I mean, 20-year-old vehicle,
No, it isn't gonna change. The price, we're gonna, I am assuming, we are gonna spend less than the pricing because we're gonna get some trade-in dollars.
Correct.
I'm just saying is, are we maximizing our price doing it through the dealer? And I just don't know, but the way the thing is measured was my question.
I have one question just based on that in a sense. Because didn't we just purchase a couple pickup trucks for Parks and Rec through the same dealership?
Correct.
Is there a way, and I know some break down and you just have to get them, but from a strategic standpoint of looking from a budgeting standpoint, if we know we're gonna buy 4 trucks this year or next year, or 5 trucks, of going to them and say, hey, here's a quantity, we have 6 trucks we're gonna purchase from you, what's that price gonna be? Because, I mean, the onesie-twosies are fine through my deal, but if my deal through this dealership says, yeah, I have a couple, because I think we just bought a couple 16s, right? To get off the lot, and these are 17s, the Parks and Rec ones?
Yeah.
and I think they were cheaper.
Well, that's what I'm
and
saying,
that's a
so
good
I mean,
point.
Pat went down and kind of did a little wheeling and dealing. I hate to say that out loud.
well, that's, there's wheeling and dealing going on, but if we know we're going with 6 trucks next year, then we need to do 6 trucks in June at the end of the budget year or into the new fiscal year, whatever the case may be, and let's negotiate quantity with that, because if we're finding out he's getting a good deal on 16s, and the 17s are out at a higher price, and they still have a couple 16s are gonna do the same thing, the 250s or 350s, whatever it was, I think we need to take a look at that in future negotiations. It won't change today, but it'll change tomorrow. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll ask for the vote.
I have just one other question, is when would we take, when we would receive these vehicles? When would they become in our possession? Is this a process, or are they there for us to just grab?
Yeah, I don't believe these are on the lot. I
4
think these
weeks?
are waiting for delivery.
So in the meantime, if the older trucks break down, we have to fix them, right? So it is what it is.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Resolution to purchase a John Deere utility vehicle for Parks and Recreation, again using the My Deal. And
Motion.
Support.
motion by Councilwoman Gavrecky, supported by Councilman Templin. Any discussion of this one?
One question there, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Is this going to replace something, or is this just a new purchase? I mean, are we replacing a John Deere, or is this just something we're adding?
This is something we're adding and replacing in the parks. Instead of using an F-150 pickup truck in the parks, we would be using a utility vehicle in the parks. It's also a vehicle that I'm asking to have outfitted with a plow for sidewalk plowing because of the area around the community center, and we have quite a few people that, let's say this, quite a few people who might be at the age of needing hip replacements. Well, with the way the bump outs are with parking in the downtown area, plowing those areas creates inherent problems on the sidewalks. And we can't get a snow blower through it. We can't get a lot of things through it. So In addition, we'd be using it year-round in the parks, and then we'd also be using it to do some sidewalks to limit our liability and.
Like sidewalks through the business district net?
No.
Not my
community
house.
center.
Yeah, I
No,
gotta
no,
do
the
my
community
house, right?
center is what we're
I was gonna
talking
give you
about.
my address.
Yeah, I was too. I was
We're
gonna,
gonna start sidewalk.
But we can't get a plow in to do it on the sidewalk because of the space. It creates, you just can't walk from one end to the other, and we have the fitness center and parking and everything there. So we've asked to add that on there. I mean, that's included in what you have there.
where do you buy it from? Where do you get the John Deere at?
The-
From Sells? or-
No, actually, I've been to Sells, but the state dealer with the My Deal is Bader and Sons, and it's Bader
So you
and
got
Sons.
prices from Sells and now you?
I got Sells, I got Weingart's, and then Bader and Sons, and Bader and Sons has the official My Deal. Everybody else's price came in higher than My Deal.
Thank you.
One more quick, is this more of a street type, or is it with a cover on it? I mean,
There is no cover. I've talked to my part-time employers, my part-time employees, and they're happy to go out without a cover over it, rather than try to be out with a shovel and a
so it comes with a snowmobile suit and helmet?
Yeah, they'd rather dress up and push the snow out of there than try to get it with a snowblower.
And then how will we get it to the parks, and how will we be driving this to the parks, or we have a storage unit at the parks?
Yes, we have a storage unit at the
Okay.
parks. Okay, that's the plan.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. A resolution to approve the Downtown Development Authority's request to close Allen Road between Philomene and Southfield on Friday, October 7th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support. Well, go ahead.
Cisco is moved, and
The lady.
Councilwoman Gavarecki has supported. Are there any questions on this matter? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Last resolution is to approve the Downtown Development Authority for a special license to serve alcohol at the Made in Michigan Festival. Could I have a motion?
Support for discussion.
Motion by Councilman Cisco, supported by Councilman, 10 point, excuse me. Supported by Councilman DiGiulio. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Don't you think we put ourselves in a precarious position when we start serving alcohol? I mean, what if somebody buys and drinks there, or maybe drinks somewhere else and buys there and goes out and hurts somebody? Don't we put ourselves in a really precarious position when we sell alcohol? That'd be for you, Mrs. Skibby, Miss Skibby.
Well, through the chair, they do have to have an insurance policy.
I know, but we still don't want to be running over people just because we have insurance. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in the liquor part. We have no business selling liquor. But okay, I'm ready. If nobody else wants to talk, I'm ready to vote. And I'm no.
What is the amount of the bond required by the state? $1 million.
To get it done.
I mean, I think it's shameful. We sell liquor. We're condoning drinking. I mean, people do drink and they have problems but we're gonna sell it. We're the city sell it.
Are there no other questions? All in favors?
I did have one question.
Yes.
Just so it's clear in my mind. What's the difference between this request and what goes on at the Allen Park Street Fair? I mean, is this request for liquor different than the one at the street fair?
No, it's the same request, but we have to apply for it. We have our own liquor license.
Right.
As required by the
So
state.
for every function, you have to have a liquor
Exactly,
license. So when
yes.
you have Oktoberfest, it's the same thing.
Exactly, yes.
So this is
Yes.
no different than for the
No different.
August street fair?
No.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
And-
Thank you.
And Jennifer, your area will be closed in as to where you could sell liquor.
Yes, we're
No
doing it-
one could take it outside
Right.
that area.
It's a little different than street fair because it's a much smaller section. So the entire block from Southfield to Philomene will be open for liquor consumption. and there'll be the big barricades at each end and a guard at each end, so you can't take the alcohol past that. But it makes it much more comfortable under the double-sized tents that we have this year, that you can come in and out with the alcohol.
How about the body that contains the alcohol? Does it get to go out of the gate?
Yes, everybody is
does?
carded,
Okay.
and gets a wristband before they come,
No, I
before
mean,
they come
after
in.
they've drank, I mean, we can't stop them from leaving.
No,
whether-
it's the
whether
same
they're
as street
drunk
fair,
or-
it's the same as any bar.
Okay. Thank you for me.
Jennifer, before you step down, there's, on the application, it says it's the City of Allen Park's application.
Yes.
Not the Downtown Development Authority?
I know it came, I will be filling pretty much everything out again.
I've always been instructed to, I don't know why. Those were my rule,
It's like with the street fair people, they bring it to me all filled out,
Right.
and I literally throw it out and I redo it, because it's not the street fair commission, it's me.
Right.
So, but I appreciate it, because I change a lot of
Okay.
it, you know.
Well, I think we ought to make it consistent, because in the other place where we have City of Allen Park, it has in parentheses Downtown Development Authority, so we should probably at
Yeah.
least ought to have it in both places the same way, Mike.
Yeah, and I will take care, because that's been a hang-up on the liquor license in the past with the street fair, is they always like to put street fair commission. Well, as soon as I apply it, they're like, who is this? Why are they on your app?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
from now on, just request it and then call me, and then I'll send it out. I'll take care of everything.
But on that part one, the first page has City of Allen Park, and then about page 4, it has City of Allen Park, Downtown Development Authority.
It does ask for the person in charge.
Yeah.
So, but maybe that's wrong. I mean, I'll do whatever Mike tells me to do.
I'm just saying, I think we just make it consistent, though.
Oh,
And
absolutely, no, I agree,
so that we know who the organization is.
yeah.
You don't come here to City Hall expecting to buy beer. If there are no other questions, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No, Mayor.
Let the record show there is one no vote, Councilman DiGiulio. We are at the other business. Do I have any comments by council tonight?
I don't mind going. Want me to go first?
Councilman DiGiulio.
Okay. First of all, you know, I'm glad to see Paul Schreier is going to be involved with the certs. That might make me attend a function or two. And I want to really thank Deb Zettel, Mark Kibbe, Matt Doring, Bob Cady, Joe Covier, and Ken Simmerly. They always seem to be there when I call. They always take care of the problem. I've never called that the problem wasn't handled by these people. And also, you know, somebody's always going to be unhappy with the time we start. I think most of us are happy with the 6 o'clock. We've gotten used to it. We know we eat after the meeting, and hopefully it'll stay at 6 o'clock. And also, in my drawer here, I have a drawer where I can keep my glasses and Kleenex and whatever. Well, in this drawer tonight, there's Russell Stover candy wrappers. There's a used Kleenex. There's Musketeer candy wrappers. There's Whopper candy wrappers. There's Kisses candy wrappers. And unless the person that sits here has a snout for a nose, I don't want to see this again. So, well, could be, yeah, could be. I don't know who did it, but I'm really aggravated by it, you know? Especially the used Kleenex. Okay, thank you. I've said enough tonight. I'm ready to go home. Oh, I forgot, Harry, you're going to talk. Yeah.
The council comment.
I'll go.
Councilman Rourke.
Okay. I just want to thank Nancy for coming up and sharing her comments about the forum and Facebook and things like that in the communication. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm the type of person who'd rather talk to you face to face. So if you have a concern or you want to share some ideas or find out my ideas, call City Hall, leave your phone number, I'll give you a call back, I'll come visit you. That's the way I enjoy doing it. I'd rather talk to you face to face, share some of the information I have. If I'm allowed to share the map or the building or some of the dollar amounts for what I have, that's what I'll try to do as well. So some people have different ways of communicating and getting the word out. But if you want to do that, and you can send an email to the city web, our email address, and I'll get back to you via that. Or like I said, I'd rather come out to your house and talk to you from that standpoint. So I appreciate the excitement about the town hall next week. I'm glad the architect's going to be there because I agree with Dennis that when we had our work session the other day, that was one of the things I brought up, that if he's not going to be there, we should extend it, into that next week. So I'm glad he's going to be there because I need information on the gun ranges was a major topic that people are talking about, and get clarification on that as well, and then some of the sites that we're looking at. So I'm kind of looking forward to the citizens coming out, and we have a big football game. The football starts this weekend, so hopefully we can pass the word out to some of the parents at the football games this weekend already. So good luck to all the athletes with all the fall sports as well. So thank you for coming.
Councilman Cisco.
Yeah, I guess I just have, I'd just like to thank everybody that came out to the work session, all the citizens that came out and gave their comments. I think that's all very helpful. And, these things that we know, in many instances, you should know also. And we only can do these things, such as a work session where people show up and listen to us, that was a big crowd for us. But I guess one thing I would like to know, and I didn't see the posting that happened today about the town hall meeting. Are we going to record that and play that for maybe other people who can't attend?
I believe we're going to be in this room, and we can make sure that it is.
So if we can record, I think that would be a great thing to do. Everybody, we kind of talk about those things, and I think that idea of transparency lends itself to being recorded. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Mayor Pro Tem?
Unfortunately, I was out of town on vacation with my granddaughter. Oh, well, not unfortunately. But the unfortunate part was that I missed the work session. However, I did submit a number of items the evening before, once we'd come back from our touring. I do want people to realize that we do have a municipal complex committee that has been doing a lot of work on this issue for quite some length of time. And we've probably discarded a lot of the ideas that people are going to come up with. I say we, that's a misnomer, I wasn't part of that. But it is always good to get new ideas. My fear has always been that when people propose something, someone out of hand says, well, that will never work. And it's a great way to quash thinking and creativity when we don't accept others' ideas. Yes, some of them may not work, some of them may have already been considered, but none of us should ever say that will never work. If we had taken that approach in this country, we'd still be driving horse and buggy. So thank all of you for coming out this evening. I look forward to the town hall. I'm hoping that we get and give a lot of information to one another, and that there's a good understanding when all the dust settles as to why we do what we end up doing. Thank you all very much.
If I could.
Oh, yes. Madam Treasurer.
Collections of taxes continue to the end of the month without penalties. As of yesterday, we have collected 90% of our summer bills, which is good. We will continue to collect But starting September 1st, there's a 1% penalty. And I just want to remind people that we do accept partial payments. I know that we've had a lot of questions this year about whether or not people can make partial payments, and yes, they can. So thank you, and have a good evening.
I too want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and again say that the town hall meeting will be held in council chambers here next Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And as you heard, we will have the architects selected by the municipal complex. Well, I think actually we voted as a council.
We did
on
vote,
them.
yes.
And also the engineers. So come out. There are 3 sites in various configurations that are being looked at. We'd like to get people's opinions on that. So look forward to seeing everyone that can join us that night. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Mayor Pro Tem McLeod, supported by Councilwoman Gavrecki. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned 7:21 by the official clock.